Hey, what's up? I just wanted to show off this rope walking robot I made for my machine design class. This project means especially a lot to me since it taught me a lot of things about myself, about other people, about engineering, and it was a catalyst for a lot of change in myself. But anyways, right off the bat, I started off pretty strong. I finished the design pretty early on for the CAD version at least, 1 month before the project was due, but in typical fashion, I suppose you don't know what typical me is, but at the end I scrambled. I hadn't finished the project assembling it. Printing alone took 44 hours, and when the deadline came, I had nothing to show for it. So I went on my knees, my metaphorical knees, and I begged the professor to let me submit late. So, he accepted. I just took the 10% late fee, and for the next 3 days, I spent countless, no, not countless, just 3 days prototyping and getting this thing to fucking work because I knew the motor was working fine, was strong enough, as you can see there. But I just couldn't get this mechanism to work. I don't know if you can see it in my face right here, but I was pretty freaking depressed, man, because I hadn't sleep, I hadn't eaten much, and I had tried everything. I know I tried to make the thing slider, replace parts with cardboard, remove certain parts, cut off the arms from the robot itself. In fact, none of those things were the problem. In the version 2 project I made right here, that it worked perfectly fine. It was only when I asked for help, from other people, my parents to be more exact, that I finally had the project to work. Problem was actually the motor itself. I had removed the motor's internal gearbox, and because of that, I lost a lot of torque. Couldn't drive the mechanism, the 4-bar linkage mechanism for my rope walking robot. I only figured this out when there was 3 heads working on this problem instead of one. It really taught me the limits of what one person could do. Anyways, I asked for help, I finally got this fucking project to work, and words cannot describe the elation I felt as this thing walked up this rope, man. This scuffed rope I had made out of wires. It was ready to submit. I brought it to school, but upon testing again in school grounds, I found that it couldn't walk on the rope, man. And this was because the arms were too flat. It needed to be rounded, and it was interfering with the rope itself. So I had fixed that, painted the thing in school, kind of got lost in the process, and that also made me submit even more late. So by that point, I had a 50% deduction on my overall grade, and I failed the class. I failed the class. I failed the class. To be perfectly honest with you. But it taught me a lot of things. It finally pushed me to ask for help from a psychiatrist to manage my ADHD better. It taught me that I couldn't do everything alone and to ask help when I needed to. Right now, I'm creating the V2 version of this rope walking robot. So if that interests you, then please consider hitting the follow button. And also, I'm making a version where you don't necessarily have to use 3D printing tools to create this project for yourself. So if you have a machine design class and you don't want to submit late and you want to copy this design, then by all means, hit that follow button and I'll be making a YouTube video as well. Anyways, I've rambled on for way too long. That's about it. Thanks you for listening and goodbye.